Good afternoon. It's a little bit like some years ago on being videotaped during demonstrations. But anyway.
It's okay, I'm nice.
Specific, that's what you say. Specific question for Mike Priaro, and it's to do with partial upgrading. And I've been told that partial upgrading is not universally applicable, that some bitumens or some projects are technically unsuited to that. But for the rest of it, for the bitumen that would be or is being partially upgraded, is that something that you would see as acceptable for pipelining? It would not have to be diluted, I presume, or heated. And is it refinery ready? Would it be shipped pipeline straight to the Shell refinery in Montreal or the Irving refinery in New Brunswick and be fed right into the refinery?
Yeah, well, that is the goal behind the idea of partial upgrading, to produce a pipeline quality crude that doesn't require diluent. Diluent is a huge problem. The supply of diluent is a huge problem. There are forecasts that we're going to need 1 million barrels a day of diluent to handle all of the in-situ raw bitumen that is proposed to be shipped out.
Being imported now.
Yeah, a lot of it, yeah, there are pipelines that are being reversed to bring diluent. The supply of diluent is good business for the U.S., but it's not good business for Canadians. When we ship out raw bitumen and diluent as dilbit, we are increasing the cost of the transporting by about 30%, because you need about 30% of diluent to make the raw bitumen pumpable. At the other end, you're getting paid for dilbit, and you're having to buy condensate at a premium because it's in short supply. So Albertans and Canadians are losing a lot of revenue by shipping out raw bitumen because we've got to pay a premium to ship it in a pipeline and to ship the diluent back to us and then mix it back in with the bitumen. So what you're trying to get is about a 20-degree API oil, which is sort of a medium-heavy crude that you can pump. There's very little of this going on now, and I know that government and academia are spending very little time on this. There have been 3 or 4 projects announced recently, pilot projects, where there are some innovative means of technologies being developed to upgrade bitumen, but I don't think anybody's really looking at partial upgrading. And what we're going to have to do in the next few years, say by 2025, the forecast is we're going to have another 3 or 4 million barrels a day of raw bitumen produced from in-situ projects that isn't being upgraded here and is going to require that diluent to be shipped out. And the economic loss from that is just staggering. Partial upgrading will provide basically a refinery feedstock that can be handled. It would be akin to a slightly sour, heavy crude that you can process with some upgrades to refinery, and some of our refineries can handle some amounts of that right now. I think partial upgrading is the way to go. And it will create a lot of jobs in Alberta, and one effect it will have is because right now you've got to dilute the raw bitumen by 30%, where you might have needed 4 pipelines to ship out your product before. You only need 3, because you don't need to pump the diluent. And you don't need any pipelines, separate pipelines, sending the diluent back to Alberta. So there's a lot of benefits to at least partially upgrading bitumen here that we don't need to upgrade ourselves for petrochemicals. The very act of partial upgrading creates a lot of products that can be used to create a petrochemical industry as well. Off gases from the partial upgrading. So it's something that we need to look at very carefully, because actually even the ExxonMobil's Curl project that just came on stream this year, they're shipping out raw bitumen, and they brag on their, at a recent presentation to investors, they bragged that it was the first strip mine that didn't have an upgrader. And this is something that we're going to be seeing more of in the future. And it's something that we really need to tackle here, because on the environmental side, nobody wants dilbit pipelines running through their neighborhoods, into their harbors, in ships that are traveling near them, on railway tank cars. Nobody wants dilbit. It's just a nasty product that sinks in water, and solvents that are used to dilute the bitumen are pretty nasty. They're flammable, they're toxic, they contain quite a bit of benzene in them, and you don't want to be breathing that stuff if ever there's a spill. So I think, you know, to me, dilbit is one of the biggest problems that we face here in this province, and that we've got to tackle and make some really major improvements on how we handle it, how much we produce, and how much we export.